Hello all, greetings from Dr. Rajkumar Academy for Civil Services. I am Akshay here. We will be starting new weekly current affairs sessions going forward. It will be there every Saturday. It will be taken by our well-known faculty, Anna D'Souza ma'am. Madam has more than 7 years of experience in teaching. Madam holds master's degree in commerce, English literature, and anthropology. It showcases Madam's diverse academic background. With her remarkable achievements, she has successfully cleared multiple competitive exams. Besides teaching responsibilities, Madam engages in freelance work as a research associate. And Madam has significant contributions as a member of editorial boards encompass the study of ancient Indian text on horticulture, exploration of 64 art forms prevalent in ancient India, and compilation of comprehensive compendium highlighting 100 Sanskrit poets sponsored by central government under Ministry of Culture. These endeavors exemplify her profound expertise and unwavering commitment to scholarly pursuits. Impressively, Madam trained approximately 3,000 UPSC aspirants every year across India. We are very happy to introduce ma'am to you all. I'm sure it's going to be very insightful learning experience to you all. I request Madam to take over the session, and once again, I thank you, Madam.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind introduction. From now onwards, we are going live, and hopefully you'll be benefited with this session, all of you, all the aspirants. So I cordially welcome you, all the aspirants here to Dr. Rajkumar Academy for Civil Services and to this session as well. So let me just share the slides here. Give me a minute. Yes. So we are having a couple of sessions from last few weeks, and I know that by this time most of you are well versed with your newspaper reading and grasping current affairs as well. So speaking of which, in the given time, we'll try to complete as many as topics possible, where you can have a revision of what whatever you have gone through this week, as well as some of the narratives are have a continuum in this session as well. So at the end of the session, we'll be having like five questions, kind of a revision questions to you all, what have you been reading from the past few weeks. So that would benefit you for revising and also to understand the pattern of the question paper. So let's, without any further ado, we'll begin the session. We'll start with, usually the sessions will be with the topics such as, I'll club together with the, what you call as polity, history, how all your GS paper goes by. And selectively, we are going to pick it. It doesn't mean that this is the end of the topics. Obviously, you know that it is highly dynamic. This area is highly dynamic. So within every seconds, we have to be updated. Of course, that is there. So the most prominent ones, which is most relevant for your exams, that is both prelims and mains, that is what we are going to look into. So you can also add your inputs. Your kind interactions will be appreciated, and keep giving more inputs throughout the session. That will be encouraged. All right. So we will take up the first topic for today's session. That is electoral bonds. So I'm sure that we have been hearing a lot about it, and the Supreme Court judgment as well, or the opinion of various people on electoral bonds, as we are expecting the upcoming election, Lok Sabha election. So can you give me some of your inputs, what you have come across this, and what is the current stance when it comes to this topic? Yes. I just need you to be interactive. So I hope you have come across this topic, electoral bonds. Okay, anyway, by the time you process, let's just go through this. What is the recent update we have? So recently the Supreme Court said it is slightly difficult to accept within courts. So the government's contention that voters do not have the right to know political parties' funding sources while reserving judgment on electoral bond scheme 2018 petitions. So this electoral bonds is a concept. We are going to see the aspect of it. Before that, there was a petition, or there was a statement by the government itself under the reforms, under the recent reform, saying that the public or the people will not have any right to know about who is funding, or who is the funding source, I mean, funding agency or a person to a particular political party. So that information cannot be disclosed. That was the recent statement given, or that was the final, reform that was brought in. But there were petitions that has been filed from 2018 itself, and even after that also. But as it is, and we are expecting upcoming elections, and this has become a bone of contention, or a debate, a topic of debate. So the questions are, the criticisms are, why people do not have the right to know who is funding whom. So many, it can be speculated, or it can be questioned also. So we will see from this topic, we will see what is the say of the government, and what are the arguments for and against regarding this news. Okay, so this will be the update, recent update. In a couple of days, again, you'll be having more narrative of this. But anyway, we will look into this. So Supreme Court has directed the Election Commission of India to submit in 2 weeks the details of contributions received by political parties by way of electoral bonds until September 30th, 2023. Now, the Supreme Court has directed the Election Commission. The takeaway from this topic is, one important thing is, it's been from, even if you take from past years, like 1997 to 2022 or 2006 up until there, we have questions that has been asked in prelims on Election Commission. Election Commission is a very important topic. Basic questions, right? So can you tell me whether Election Commission is a constitutional body, statutory body? What kind of authority it is? Election Commission? Yes.
Constitutional body.
Yes, good. So we know that its functions are important. It is a static topic from the view perspective of your exam. Apart from that, in mains also questions have been asked. So Election Commission itself is an important topic. We know that even though there are terms given in the news, the question can go back to static part of the topic. Okay, so your takeaway, your learning from this topic should be, you have to revisit the topic Election Commission and have to know about the functions, composition, and all the provisions of it. That will be your task. We have a term in current affairs, so you have to look into the static part of it. That is the strategy for the exam. Hope you are getting it. Now, this is the news, okay? Because why? You can see the phrase here. Supreme Court has said it is slightly difficult to accept the fact that people should not know who is going to fund these political parties. So it is not the final verdict. This is the statement. So what are the considerations? The CJI has quoted that there should be certain considerations like reduce cash in elections. Why this has to be taken into consideration. So we know that electoral bonds is nothing but a promissory note, like any other financial instrument we call. So why there is an introduction of electoral bonds here? In order to reduce cash in elections. And everybody knows, it is an open secret, how cash flows, how liquid cash flows even after these reforms. So this is one consideration. Second thing is promote authorized banking channels. So we have a nationalized bank which has been authorized for issuing electoral bonds, that has been brought into consideration. Then incentivize banking for confidentiality. So banks has to maintain the confidentiality. Of course, most of the aspects are transparent, but doesn't mean that bank acts as an agent to secure the information or confidentiality. For that, ensure transparency. That is very, very important. And avoid legitimizing quid pro quo. What is quid pro quo means? Actually mean? It is like, see, again, the concepts or the beliefs or the judgments can be totally different. It can be relative. So when we look into the reality of any democratic country or any, when we see the representations from the political parties, in order to thrive, the main aspect is financial aspect or funding agency, source of funding. So why will any company, any private party, any individual would fund a political party? What do you think? If you are a very big company, a private organization, and you wish to fund into some, be a donor to a political party, why this happens? Or why anybody joins or supports a political party? What is the reality? What is the hard truth? Because I'm just telling about the last point. Avoid legitimizing quid pro quo. Okay, during my election, let me make it simple and straight. During my election, you have funded my political party, my election campaign. So when I come into power, the help will be given back. It is as simple as that. But the electoral reforms say that it has to avoid this legitimizing. Okay, you have benefited me and I am going to benefit you. This is not how it is going to happen. So these are the considerations. Okay, this actually is a very important topic, and it is a basic awareness not only as an aspirant and any citizen should be having. So this is what we have it here. Apart from that, first we will understand what are the key points. The thing is, what is the meaning of electoral bonds? What is the meaning of electoral bonds? Okay, so for the very first time in 2017, electoral bonds were introduced. Okay, and for the election by then. Okay, so these are the interest-free bearer instruments like promissory notes announced during the union budget session. So this was announced in 2017, acting like a promissory notes. Okay, so electoral bonds permit Indian citizens and Indian incorporated entities to buy bonds, facilitate contribution to political parties, which is very quite simple. Excuse me. So these are usually sold in denominations ranging from 1,000 to 1 crore. It depends upon the willingness of the corporate entities or the citizens to fund political parties. And these bonds can be bought only from authorized SBI branches. Just give me a minute. Please excuse me. So following this, the political parties can choose to encash the bonds within the 15 days of receiving them. So bonds is what it will be in the flow. And apart from that, after receiving the bonds through a proper channel, legitimized channel, that is through SBI branches, only through SBI branches, then they can encash it and use it for the electoral expenses, campaign expenses. However, they have certain restrictions. When it can be purchased, what are the months? So they can only be purchased between a 10-day windows falling in the months of January, April, July, and October. Now, this is the month. Till now, the Supreme Court has asked till September, that has been received from January, April, July. till September, what all funds have been, what all bonds have been received, that information has to be submitted to Supreme Court. That is what Supreme Court is asking as of now, because there is a question in court, there is a petition in court regarding every citizen have a right to information. So why are we not able to know who is funding whom? That is why Supreme Court has asked the government to give the details about it. So other than that, electoral bonds can only be used to donate to political parties. There is a clause here under Section 29A of the Representation of the Peoples Act 1951, securing at least 1% of the votes. There is a criteria who can donate, who can get the funds. So in the previous election, a person, a representative, should have been secured at least 1% of the votes. 1% of the votes polled in the last to the House of the People or the Legislative Assembly. That is the criteria. Not to anybody and everybody, these bonds can be given. These bonds can be utilized. Hope you're getting the point. Okay, so this is the basic idea about it. And so far, no questions have been asked on electoral bonds. You can use this information if there is a question on electoral reforms in mains as an example. Okay, so the debate as of now is right to information. Right to information. We will see the background of it. Hope you're following it. The news is regarding the Supreme Court statement saying that it is slightly difficult to accept the fact that people cannot be given what do you call as information regarding the bonds. And then we saw that what is electoral bond, basic features of it. Then now the debate on right to information. So we will look back, the past. In the past, what it has happened. So in 2003, Supreme Court mandated candidates to declare their financial dealings and criminal cases while filing nominations. So 10 years back, which was the need of the hour by then. That is, a candidate has to declare their financial dealings, and if at all, is there any any criminal cases against the party, against the people, against the person, while filing nominations. That has to be transparent. This was the first time wherein people were able to know about their representatives. So simply some random person we are voting because we have right to vote, right to information also. So this was made very clear in 2003. What was the case name? In the 2003 ruling in People's, this is the case name, People's Union for Civil Liberties versus Union of India. This is one ruling. In 2002 judgment in Union of India versus Association for Democratic Reforms, the Supreme Court, the court ruled that the right to know about public officials is derived from the constitutional right to freedom of expression. So there will be Attorney General AG or SG who actually argue for the government in the Supreme Court. So they'll be asking questions. Why should we tell all these details to the people? What is the reason? What is the why should we do it? So here the court has ruled that right to know about the public officials, who are their representatives, this right is derived from the very constitutional right, that is right to freedom of expression. Right to freedom of expression is our fundamental right. So we derive this from that. So you cannot actually alter it. So that was there in the backdrop then. As of now, when there is a question of why should people know regarding the fundings, and the Attorney General has told the Supreme Court saying that the citizens' right to know is accepted, but it is subjected to reasonable restrictions. I hope you have an idea about right to information. Do you have an idea? Any one of you have filed RTI? Under RTI, any information you wanted? A clause wherein there is something called as the information which can be disclosed and cannot be disclosed, right? Which can be confidential, which can come under classified information. Hope you have an awareness about it, right? So under this right to information, if say right to information, there is also a clause saying that, okay, you can know, but there is a reasonable restrictions. That is what the government says. But looking back to the criticism, looking back to the questions that has to be asked, in 2017, we know that 2018, this was 2017 electoral, bonds were introduced. So in 2017 budget speech, then Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, has stressed that the party itself or the government itself has stressed that without transparency of political funding, free and fair elections are not possible. This is very clearly given in the budget speech. So who funds, that has to be known. That was given, right? So these are the what do you call as information we have as of now when it comes to the Supreme Court ruling. Now the question is, why, what do you call as why such a debate is going on? What happens if people get to know? Can you tell me? This is about the news. Okay, this is what we have as of now. For you, from the exam perspective, what you have to know is, you have to look into Election Commission, some details about electoral reforms, and maybe right to information. These are the static part. Now tell me, what is the difficulty, if at all, people get to know about the funding agencies or funding parties? What according to you? Hope you can follow what I'm telling, right? Can you answer this question? Hope you got my question. What are the reasons, do you think? Because see, this is a kind of, it's not about accumulating facts and what do you call as simply knowing about it. And for the sake of knowing current affairs, you being, or you are aspiring to become future diplomats, the aspirants, what kind of thoughts you get when it comes to, you can either chat or you can unmute and tell me. No trouble with that. Yes. Just tell me. See, why would donors seek anonymity? If I am a donor, good. We can know about a lot of illegal things happening. Okay, then could it be, yes, in the name of election? Could it also be, if people get to know, okay, this party, this person, okay, corruption, that is one thing. Good. This private agency, this private organization funded this political party, and in future, if that political party benefits this person, this agency, this institute, or any entity, then it is very evident that it has become a quid pro quid, right? Like mutual benefits. That becomes very evident. That fear, is that the fear? I'm just asking the question about black money. Exactly, that is also there. Then, so has any party ever targeted a donor who contributed to its political opponents? Let's say I'm a political party and one donor has contributed to me, and my opposition might have targeted, if they win the election, right? Maybe in future there is a possibility of targeting that entity as well. There are a number of questions. I'm just leaving it to you. I just told some of them, but what are the reasons? This could be the reason. Yes or no? It can be corruption, it can be black money. See, as of now, this debate is going on. So it is not about taking sides of the ruling party or opposition party. It is about the public's right to know. That is what we are discussing here. Hope you got the idea. Okay. So this, I'll leave it to you, because when you write answers also, you should be very careful with your statements. You should be very diplomatic. Just speak of the reality and facts in your answers. And maybe in the future, maybe in the opinion or editorial columns, take the aspects, take the opinions of the authors, and try to broaden your horizons of thinking on that. That really matters. Okay, questioning is very important. Not like going rebellious, not anti-government I'm speaking about, just questioning the fact. It is very, very important. So this is what we have from this news as of now. But in the future, in the coming days, there can be further developments on this particular issue. So you can keep a tab on it. So takeaway from here is know about Election Commission. Clear with this? Okay. Moving on. It will be sent. PDF will be sent. It has been spoken about. You will be receiving it. Don't have to worry about it. Okay. Okay. Next topic is regarding President. It is also a polity topic. President terminates service of Army Major posted with Strategic Forces Command Unit. Is the news. Hope you might have come across this regarding the leakage of information and there was a WhatsApp group wherein it was tracked, and there was a group also by the certain officials wherein they were discussing acting as a spy or agents to Pakistan is what the news is regarding now. But such controversies, such issues keep happening. This is not the first time. But what should be the takeaway for us from the exam perspective? One side, you have to know what is happening in the defense force, and the other way, from the exam perspective, what is the role or what is the power of the president when it comes to defense? What is the role? What is the importance of president when it comes to what is the association? What is the link with the defense part in India?
President acts as a head for the army forces.
Exactly, very good. So obviously she has
Ma'am,
a say
also
in it.
president, ma'am, also president appoints the armed forces personnel.
Very good. So we can say the supreme commander of the defense. Very good. So taking from that, yes, appointing the military commander. So we can say the supreme commander of the defense forces. So that is why we are connecting president here. So President Draupadi Murmu has terminated the services of this army major from the Strategic Forces Command Unit. You should be knowing the unit also, which unit the person has been terminated. Of course, it is not that by according to whims and fancies of the president, one can be terminated. There are clauses. Do we have any provisions in the constitution for their protection, for the army personnel, or maybe for the civil aspirants also? Civil servants. We have a clause. We have an article in the constitution as well. So we are trying to connect with that article, role of the president, importance of president here. So that should be the takeaway from the exam perspective. Okay. Now, the president exercising powers conferred by Section 18. There are two provisions here. Section 18 of the Army Act 1950, and which aligns with Article 310 of the Constitution, and all the powers enabling in this behalf ordered that the services of the major be terminated with immediate effect. So one can question on what basis, under what provision president has terminated this major, right? So there are two aspects here. One is Section 18 of the Army Act 1950 and Article 310 of the Indian Constitution. We will see that in detail, and also the backdrop. So why this happened? Let's look into the news first. The major violated army regulations by storing secret documents on electronic devices and was in contact with the Pakistani intelligence operative through. Just give me a minute. Can you please excuse me? I might have to take a call, but maybe I'll just finish this. Meanwhile, you read it. So the major violated the army regulations. Hope you got the news, right? So what do you call us? This person has been storing secret documents on electronic devices, and also was in contact with Pakistani intelligence. This is what is being given, and there will be what you call as further department inquiry also. As of now, it is termination. It has to be proven with witness, with all the evidence, and then further actions will be taken. Okay, so I'll just change the slide here. You can go through this. Keep reading this. Give me few minutes. I'll come back. Okay, so I had to take a call, so I had to give you what's this? I had to pause the this one class. So anyway, I hope you are reading. I hope you read it. So these are the key points. Let's go through this. So the President of India is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Forces, as you all mentioned. So we will see what is the provision we have in Section 18. So it provides the authority for the dismissal of a soldier by a specified competent authority. So here is the essence of the provision. What does it say? Every person subject to this act shall hold the office during the pleasure of the president. Very, very important, because it is a doctrine. This concept is derived from a doctrine, what we have called as the doctrine of pleasure. Even for the civil servants, even if it is for civil servants or for the army personnel, and especially for the Indian Army, under this section of the Indian Army Act, you can see that there is a provision wherein the person can hold the office during the pleasure of the president, and not according to the whims and fancies, the president can totally terminate or remove the personnel. But the thing is, there is certain clauses. Obviously, there will be certain clauses. On what grounds? On maybe as we have seen, it has been mentioned in the news itself. The major violated the RB regulations. On this ground, the president had exercised the powers of Section 18 of the Army Act of 1950. This is one side. Possibilities are lesser, wherein question will be asked on Army Act 1950. But for us, what is important is Article 310 of the Indian Constitution. So what is Article 310 of the Indian Constitution? That is the reason I put up here, so that you should be knowing about it. Section 18, okay, understood. We don't come much across it. But Article 310 and 311, Article 311, what does these articles speaks about? What are the provisions we have in here? Can anyone tell me what is it related to, at least? Yes. Article 310 and 311. It is related to? No idea. Tenure of. So 310 and 311 speaks about the civil services, the tenure, and the other clauses. Okay, so the quoting here is regarding from Article 310, wherein both the articles speaks about the tenure and how one can be removed, and the protection against the removal. So everybody are aspiring to be civil servants, IAS, all the civil services to get through this exam, right? So what is the protection or security when it comes to your work or job? Do we have what kind of actions, or who can take the actions when it comes to what you call as the termination or dismissal or suspension? What kind of protection any civil servant has? So this is what Article 310 and 311 speaks about. Getting it? But here, mostly 310 and 311, the 80%, 90% of the provision speaks about how one can be protected. Say, for example, now Article 311, Clause 1. Article 311, Clause 1. No government employee of state shall be dismissed or removed by an authority who is subordinate to them. So there is an authority where they can be suspended or removed or dismissed. So in a subordinate authority, the IAS officer is posted in a state government. So a subordinate authority, not the central government, at the state government, nobody has the power to dismiss or suspend such civil servants or the officers. It applies to defense personnel as well. That is subsection 1 or clause 1, we can say. So clause 2 says that no civil servant shall be dismissed or removed or reduced in rank except after an inquiry. Without inquiry, there should be no dismissal, right? Getting it? So these are the clauses we have, and When it comes to other clauses, when we speak of the other aspects, especially, there is one last clause wherein it also says that if at all it is being satisfied by the president that this very person has violated the norms, regulations under or by invoking something called as doctrine of pleasure. So doctrine of pleasure is incorporated by Article 310 of the Indian Constitution. By this authority, the president can dismiss the army personnel. Yes, all the rights, all the protection, the defense personnel as well as civil servants has it. But there is a sub clause wherein I think 310 clause 2 has as a provision wherein the president can take an action, only the president. And as the first point goes, President of India is the supreme commander of the defense forces of India. So subordinate cannot do it, only the highest authority can do it. So this is what we have from this news. So accordingly, it provides that everyone who is a member of the defense services, the Union Civil Services, All India Services, holds office at the president's pleasure, wherein doctrine of pleasure is invoked here. When we speak about doctrine of pleasure, this is not a newly developed concept. We know that our constitution is a borrowed constitution. The very idea of doctrine of pleasure is from British government, or the pleasure of the queen or the king. So the officers or the civil servants will be appointed or dismissed or can hold office as long as the pleasure of there it is king or queen, here it is the same concept is being brought in, wherein president holds that pleasure or that doctrine, we can say. So this is also being mentioned in the news. Okay, so the takeaway from here is, again we go back to if you revisit the previous year question papers, there are many questions asked on the functions of the president, the role of the president, the authority of the president. What is the key takeaway from here? What should you revise today? President, the chapter president. Okay, especially being the supreme commander of the defense forces. Of course, the other provisions also, maybe questions can be asked. So it is a kind of a revision for you to look into. Okay, maybe this narrative will go on. As I've told you, there are certain clauses wherein without an inquiry, there will be no suspension or dismissal. That cannot happen according to whims and fancies. But there is a power to the president to dismiss. So hope you got the idea of it, right? Yes. We move on to the next. These are the two polity topics. We move on to economics. So a term called as Lewis model was in news. Lewis model. When it comes to economics, hope when you follow certain topics in classes, what should be the orientation towards exam? We should be knowing basic terms for under economics. Apart from that, how do we connect with the current affairs? There will be certain approach, theory, terminology associated to economics. This is a model. Maybe sometimes approach will be given. Certain times, certain theories will be given. Certain technical words of economics will be given, right? So it can be, let's say in the last year, it was more popular was Malthusian trap. Malthusian trap given by Malthus. Likewise, the economists or the experts coin certain terms and maybe the approach or the model for the overall economic development of the country. So such words are important from the economics perspective. So economics is a topic or a subject for you from the exam perspective, wherein 80%, again 90% is of current affairs. How do we connect the current affairs with these terms? Let's look into what is this Lewis model and what is the article all about. So why the Lewis model on labor and industrialization has worked in China, not in India? This is the article. So there is a model wherein it has been efficiently, or it is really successful in China, but it did not work in India. What are the reasons and what is it, we will see. Okay, so this for the very first time, Sir William Arthur Lewis influential essay. So he's a Saint Lucia is a place, it's a small island country. So he's an economist from this country, wherein he in his essay have mentioned regarding Lewis, his own model. Okay, so what is the model about? And let me just make it very simple here. So this economists say that labor or the human resources or the personnel has to be used for, instead of working in the farms, this labor has to be used in manufacturing industries labor industrialization. So this will improve the economic status of the country. Getting it? So we have to mobilize, we have to transfer certain labor force from agricultural area to industrialized or industrialization or manufacturing sector, because when it comes to economic development of the country, it can be there are primary sectors, there are secondary sectors, there are tertiary sectors. You might have learned about it. So everything, if it is confined or focused or concentrated in one sector, economic development can lag, it can slow down. It has to be distributed. And especially India or China, these both countries are blessed with, or it is abundant with, human resource, personnel. So how are we making the best use of it? Okay, so that is the comparison we can see. So assumption of the model is, when we convert this labor from the agricultural, especially from the farming sector to the manufacturing sector, it leads to higher wages, higher output, better living standards, better economic development. This is the approach. Of course, no, I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody has to accept the model and it actually works in every country. But for India, Lewis model might work, is what they thought or we thought before. But no matter what, today when we see the statistics, when we speak of numbers, we have not have transformed much when it comes to accepting Lewis model. Hope you got the crux of the Lewis model. What is the crux here? Using the surplus labor, using the surplus labor in manufacturing industries, capital intensive industries, or output, giving higher output industries. That progresses the growth of the country or economic development, we can say. So what are the limitations here? In India, what are the limitations, or what could be the limitations for Lewis model in general? If Lewis model has to work, capital should be enough. There should be high capital and there should be enough natural resources. Only labor will not work. India has labor, enough labor, surplus human resources. But the question here is, do we have capital, enough capital to invest in manufacturing industries? And also the harnessing of, how do we harness natural resources? These are the two questions. So what do we see in here is, let's look into the current status when it comes to Lewis model. Okay. So how was the model planned out in India? Okay, so we are having a comparison, because Lewis model exclusively speaks between agriculture and manufacturing, not any other sector. So we are just comparing this. So we know that India is a country wherein 2/3 of India's workforce is in agricultural area or agricultural sector. Today, when we see the share of the agricultural in employment, it has declined 48.9%. Manufacture doesn't mean that, okay, one might wonder, okay, today there is less likely, it is less likely that people are ending up in agriculture. Very, 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 very less. And maybe it is declining in a way, according to the statistics. But doesn't mean that agriculture is going down and manufacture is growing. Manufacturing has marginally increased. Marginally means not a great, what do you call as change, we can see. So it was 10.4%. Now it is 12.6%. That is the marginal increase. That's what we can say. Then what happened later? Now the recent trends, if you see, during COVID-19 or the pandemic, we can see that in a way farm sector share increased temporarily. Why it increased? What do you think? 46.5%. It increased by 2023, which was in 2011. When we compare it to the current condition, to the previous statistics, at least 40%, 46% people involved in farm sector, especially during pandemic. You might have watched in news, or you might have read the articles wherein people lost their jobs during pandemic. So where did they turn to? Where did they resign to? Again, to agriculture. Many people who were in abroad, maybe who were in urban areas, maybe in cities, you know that, right? Maybe most of them came back to the rural places, started taking up agriculture. That was the condition. So that is where we again see agricultural, it is improving, not the manufacturing area sector. So conversely, we know that during pandemic, again, manufacturing share dropped to 11.4%. So Lewis model nowhere is, acceptable, related or associated in India, how it happened in China, right? Let's look into the statistics here. You can have a look at it here. So starting from 1990s to 2023, what is the share of workforce, percentage of share of workforce in these two areas? Agriculture, though it is there is a decline. Obviously, there is a decline from 1993 to 2022. Look at the number, 64.6% to 45.8%. But did the manufacturing sector grow? No, it is almost consistent. It is marginally or slightly increased. Hope you are getting the point here. So the title of the article is why not in India? Why in India it is not happening? This is the reason. This is the statistics. Okay. But in a way, if you selectively look into the certain states, any improvement in certain states, so Gujarat is the only state we can say that Lewis model is working there. Wherein, yes, there is agriculture plus nearly 24% of its workforce has been employed in manufacturing today. So we can see this labor shifting from farms to factories. Farm is also there. Farming sector is also there. But shifting from farm to manufacturing sector is also happening. It is rapidly increased over the years. So Gujarat is the only state, maybe it stands out from the crowd, out from of all the lists, wherein it is only state where we can say, okay, only here Lewis model worked, nowhere else. This is one example. All these takeaways are from the article itself. Okay, it was in Indian Express. So the article, you have to know what is the meaning of Lewis model, and we are knowing the current stance, okay, of agriculture and manufacturing. So also when you look into sector-wise share of workforce, this can be very important. Which are the top 3 or top 4 or top 5 agricultural dependent states, agricultural or the least agriculture dependent states, most and least. So we can see the least agriculture dependent states. It is perplexing and surprising, wherein Punjab, we think that Punjab has fertile land and agriculture is the main thing. When we see the dependency, it depends more on other sectors such as manufacturing, construction, services, etc. Services are more now, especially in the today. It is also a hub for major service sectors, major IT industries as well, right? So Punjab, agriculture is there. Meanwhile, other sectors also. And Kerala less dependent on agriculture. It depends on manufacturing, construction, and services more. Tamil Nadu also agricultural least. See, we are not speaking about whether it is an agricultural state. We are talking about dependency of the states. Least agriculture dependent states. Then we have Haryana, West Bengal. This is the list. Maybe you can go through it when you receive the PDF, okay, or the notes. So this is one idea. Apart from that, 10 most agricultural dependent states: Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. You can look at the percentage also. Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan. More than manufacturing, construction, services, they depend on agriculture. This is statistics we have. But what is happening? Why is this, disparity, we can say, and why we couldn't take it up? Because today, what we call as why it is not the quite the Lewis model we can see in India, because in the 1950s we had it. 1950s in the sense immediately after independence, the industries, especially in Mumbai, mill industries were there, mills were there, Mumbai mills were there, wherein they were actually seeing a trend of converting or transforming the workforce from the agricultural area to manufacturing area. There was quite a transform that was happening. But again, people are more resigning back to agriculture itself. But apart from that, there is also one more reason called disguised unemployment. Can anyone tell me what is disguised unemployment? You have learned about unemployment types, right? What do you understand by disguised unemployment? Yes. Can you tell me what is disguised unemployment? Any answers? You have heard about this term, right? Disguised unemployment. Work available only during season. Rather, see, in India, what is happening? People are having jobs. Okay, yes, people are having jobs. Yes, little productivity, which will not contribute to aggregate output. The final output, what we take, it is not contributing. So the thing is, conventional jobs is what we are talking about. Conventional jobs, unorganized sector, where it is not contributing to the aggregate part. So disguised unemployment, it was also the term mentioned in the article. So from the static perspective, you have to look into types of unemployment. Of course, it is talking about the Lewis model, and the main the main aspect the author has noted down or mentioned is disguised unemployment. Okay, low productivity. Why low productivity? Because when India has labor, enough labor, right? But the employment opportunities is narrowing, and it is also conventional, where it is not contributing to the aggregate output. This is also the reason wherein there is no shift of from the agricultural area to manufacturing area. There is not a clear shift like China. In China, China made sure that labors or labor force from agricultural area shifted to manufacturing or factories. Literally, people today who were farmers once, today they are working in factories. So China is called as world's factory. Today in India, we can consider Gujarat as India's factory, which have the same growth or progress when compared to when we look into China's growth. Also, the shift. Yeah, the main concept is shift from agriculture to manufacturing area. So China did it. So Lewis model worked there. But in India, the shifting is not calculated. Shifting is not assessed. Mostly people take up conventional aspects. Even if it is one more last bottom line is, even if it is people are getting the employment opportunities, people are getting into factories or industries, that is mostly agro-based industries. Agro-based industries. That means it can be today in order to tackle the issue of what do you call as stubble burning. What all the initiatives Indian government has taken? What are the initiatives Indian government has taken for or to tackle stubble burning? We might have heard about biomass, crop residue burning, right? Torrefaction, pelletization. So it needs more labor. People might not taking, hope you're getting the point. Okay, hope all of you can understand what I'm telling. The thing is, we might not, what do you call as, shifting to manufacturing. Yes, shifting to manufacturing sectors, but we are again shifting to, or we can see the agricultural labor shifting to bio-based biofuels. All big companies are still big opportunities are still in the agricultural area itself. So we cannot see much of a difference in the manufacturing area sectors. Today, we are shifting to, there's a paradigm shift to biofuels. There is a paradigm shift to what do you call as crop residues, pelletization, torrefaction. We need more labor there. So people are settling there itself. Maybe it is a factory. Maybe it is a bio-based industry or fuel or bio crop, whatever it is, you call it as. It is an industry. But we can see the labor force remaining in the agricultural sector itself. That is why we are not still into Lewis model of what we can see in China, and it did not work in India, because these are the reasons. So the takeaway from this news is why poorest states of India are more dependent on agriculture. When it comes to poorest states, it depends upon the revenue that they are incurring or they are receiving from various, what do you call as, sectors, various sectors. So instead of saying poor, what do you call as states or rich states, what we can say is the harnessing, as I told you already, lack of capital, lack of investment. Two reasons. Again, we go back to the same thing. Lack of investment. What do you call as? Again, see, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, when you see these are the agricultural dependent state, doesn't mean that these are the poor states. Chhattisgarh is rich in resources, natural resources, maybe possibly mineral resources, but they should, lack of capital is one thing, investment. Nobody even, sometimes we have certain states which are quite popular in India. Nobody thinks of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. With all due respect to the states, I'm just telling, it is not in the mainstream because We have a notion on every state. This state is like this. This state, Bangalore, Karnataka, IT sector, Tamil Nadu, so and so, Kerala, so and so, Mumbai, Maharashtra, Delhi, Rajasthan. We have a notion about it. So the investors also seek out for already developing or progressing states rather than states which are maybe Chhattisgarh. Again, speaking of, there are many issues. I mean, there are many aspects when we look into agriculture. It may be the tribal presence of tribal. It may be the forest areas. It may be the primitive way of living. It may be the education, right? Maybe it may be the terrain wherein agriculture or any other things cannot happen, basically. So ecologically, biologically, naturally, economically, all aspects are there. That is why dependency comes in. Okay, so when we see why Kerala is least agriculture dependent states, only few, because of the condition, geographical condition, only some crops can be grown there. So it is dependent on for certain food crops or certain commodities from the other states. Getting the point? So how natural resources or how biological wealth is not evenly distributed, likewise natural resources are also not equally distributed. So does the investment and the labor force, the skilled labor force we are talking about. People are subsistent. People are having the conventional jobs, maybe a gig economy. What do you call gig economy? So that is there. Gig workers. So all these are not coming to the mainstream. So we do not get the statistics or we do not get the final output here. These are the conditions. Okay. So takeaway here regarding the employment types, disguised employment, which is mentioned in the article. And apart from that, Lewis model. Hope you got the idea of Lewis model. The shift of labor force from agricultural sector to manufacturing sector. Clear with this? Moving on. So we are taking a lot of time today for two topics. Hope I'm just going it slow so that I want you to follow it. And as I told you, we'll have having revision questions in the end from the previous weeks. Okay. Next topic is in FSSAI index. Nearly all major states slipped on food safety compared to 2019. So there's an index that was published recently, food safety index. So we will have some of the key points from this. Okay. So the index is an annual assessment released by FSSAI, that is one of the standards when it comes to food safety in India. So it is an annual assessment. This was started in the year 2018-19 to create a competitive positive change in the food safety ecosystem in the country. So all the states will be assessed. This is a state food safety index. Okay. So it is a state food safety index. And this index will help in providing safe and nutritious food to our citizens. So what kind of food we are eating also matters, right? So which cities, which states provide better, safe, nutritious food? This is an assessment by this organization. Okay. So we can see the highlight. We can see the highlights of this report, which has been published by FSSAI, wherein it speaks about the food safety in different states. So key findings is, you can see 15 out of 20 states had lower 2023 scores compared to 2019. So today, first we will look into the parameters. What are the parameters for this safety? One is compliance, according to FSSAI standard is compliance. Then consumer empowerment, human resources and institutional data, food testing infrastructure, improvement and FSSAI rank, that is the previous rank will be added here. Then training and capacity building. So the recent parameter that has been added is improvement in SFSI rank, that is the previous ranking. So they will be given some weightage. All this will be total to 100. So according to the scores, if you see which are the states which has the steepest index fall, lowest safety or safe food, when compared to 2019, Maharashtra, the score is 45. That is, it is a drastic gap when it comes to the score. And Bihar also, it has scored really, really less, half of it the previous one. Gujarat, you can see, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. These are the places, these are the states. See, this is an awareness whether these states have food safety, nutritious food. Maybe because of urbanization or population and all that, that may be also the reason. What kind of standards people are following when it comes to food? Maybe packaged food, or road street food, or maybe in the restaurants or the hotels, etc. So this is an awareness again. Okay, FSSAI can be important because as one of the standards, when it comes to different products, we have standards, we have regulations, we have an authority, regulating authority. When it comes to food, we have FSSAI. The key findings are steepest score, these are the states, then worst decline in food testing infrastructure parameter. States like Maharashtra and all these recorded lower scores, and Gujarat have also scored compliance. Compliance means not following, going against the rules. According to FSSAI, there will be certain rules and regulations which they have not followed. Okay, and the recent one is in human resources also, it has received 18% weightage. So these are some of the key findings. From the exam perspective, this topic as a whole is not important. This is an awareness topic for you all. Maybe idea of this can help you out in different questions which is remotely related. That is why this has been discussed here. Okay, this is a very simple news, just to know about the standards of food standards in India, what kind of measures we have. Then moving on, we can consider this as an art and culture or maybe governance also. Recently, Calicut in Kerala and Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh have been added to the prestigious creative cities list of UNESCO. UNESCO has different cities, different list, when it comes to art or heritage or skills or handicrafts, etc. This is one of the list. So recently what has been added is Kozhikode in Kerala and Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh. So the idea behind this city network is to promote sustainable urban development. Objective is to placing creativity and cultural industries. So it is basically to promote the cities, so that maybe in terms of tourism, and it's also in terms of sustainable urban development. The objectives are very simple. There's a very factual topic. So recently, which cities have been added to the creative list? No direct question will be asked. Maybe in the other state level exams can be asked. But speaking of this, we can see what are the other cities that has been added. Maybe simple question, basic questions remotely related to this will be asked. So how it happens is the applications in India are routed through Ministry of Culture. Ministry of Culture will make several nominations, appeal to UNESCO. Then based on certain parameters, UNESCO will designate certain cities. So recently, these are the two cities, one in Madhya Pradesh, the other one in Kerala. So some key points, or what are the other cities we have? So why this Kozhikode is a permanent venue? I mean, city, cultural city. It has been considered in the list because it is a permanent venue for the annual Kerala Literature Festival and hosts several other book festivals. So in terms of the category, there are different categories. There is craft and folk arts, there is film category, music, gastronomy. Gastronomy is regarding food. Okay, food culture of a city, then literature, etc. So from the field of crafts, folk arts, from the literature field, Kerala, Kozhikode has been selected. Gwalior in the field of music, because Gwalior has a very rich and diverse musical heritage, which has classical Hindustani music, devotional music and all that. That is why it's been added to the list. Apart from the previous, what are the cities? Srinagar and Jaipur for its craft and folk arts, Mumbai for its film category, Chennai and Varanasi for its music category, Chennai and Varanasi, different cities, and Hyderabad for its gastronomy category. Only in the food area, Hyderabad has been added. We have two cities in folk arts and crafts. We have two cities in music category, one in film category. The other one now it's been added under literature. One more again music. This is the basic points. This is what we had recently. Okay. Then moving on. Tribes in news. So Bru refugees, they are also called as Riang. What is the news here? It was recently seen in news that for the very first time, Bru refugees will have no participation in Mizoram assembly polls. Who are these? What is the importance? Why, if they do not have participation in Mizoram, why it is a, I mean, what do you call as it is a major issue there, right? So when we speak of Mizoram, the neighboring state, that is Tripura, these people, these Bru are the refugees who have come from Tripura to, who have come from Mizoram to Tripura. Basically, these have their origin in Mizoram, but today they have become refugees in Tripura. This is a state refugee issue that we are talking about. So we will see what is the report here. All these days, or till recently and up until recently, Bru refugees, even though they were in Tripura, they had the voting rights. They had a participation in the assembly polls in Mizoram, in the other state where they belong to, right? Because, and also Tripura has given a permanent settlement under a centrally sponsored rehabilitation arrangement. This is all there. They are in a refugee camp in Tripura. So prior to this, the Election Commission of India had to set up special polling stations on Tripura-Mizoram boundary, so that, see, these people can never go back to Mizoram in all the places, because in 1990s itself, because of the ethnic cleansing, clashes between the two groups or the two tribes or different tribes because Mizoram people never accepts Bru as or Riangs as their own people. They consider them, they alienate them. So there is a constant ethnic conflicts that happens. So they have been, chased away from Mizoram, and they are taking refuge in Tripura. So central government has created an initiative wherein they can be in in Tripura, and they are treated as refugees. And during the assembly polls, there will be a special polling stations will be set up wherein refugees in Tripura will go and vote in the boundary, the two state boundaries. This was there. So even after large scale rehabilitation in Tripura today, some people also live in Mizoram, especially in some of the bordering areas. Still, some people are there. It is not that entire group has come and settled down in Tripura. Some are still in Mizoram. So what kind of questions will be asked? Simple questions will be asked on the tribes itself. These are the tribes basically. Okay, we will see the key points on these tribes. So Bru, the other name of Bru is Riang. Remember, don't get confused. Bru or Riang tribe are from Mizoram. They are refugees in Tripura. And some of the other places where they also live is Assam, one more state, because it is a bordering state there. So they live there as well. So these are the three states where we can see people of as Bru or Riangs. So in Tripura, they are recognized as PVTGs. Hope we have discussed about PVTGs before also. Particularly vulnerable tribal group. Particularly vulnerable tribal group are recognized in India, wherein they are also scheduled tribes only because of their the way of living, maybe the primitive way of agriculture, lack of illiteracy, lack of literacy or illiteracy itself, and as away from the mainstream society. There are certain criteria for PVTGs. Today we have 75 PVTGs in India, 75. And Odisha has the largest or the highest PVTG groups. So among them, Brus are in Tripura, they have been recognized as PVTG, though they are refugees. So they belong to Indo-Mongoloid racial stock. And these are some of the information. Austro-Asiatic groups, because they are totally different, is what Mizoram people feel, and they do not accept them. Okay. So these are the nomadic tribe. Even today, they they gather, they go for hunting and gathering. They take up jung cultivation also, that is shifting cultivation. So all are primitive and subsistence way of living. That is why they are being classified under PVTG. Why this happened? What is the issue? In 1997, there were certain ethnic clashes. Let's look into the map so you'll get an idea. Today, so this is the bordering areas. These are the places where we have Brus, and we have a refugee camp near Kanchanpur in Tripura. So these are the places. But when there is an assembly poll, elections have been conducted, there will be a special polling stations that will be set up for them. Today, because the government has decided there will be, they cannot vote in this election that is slated for November 7th, upcoming election that is happening in Mizoram. So what are the further consequences? We are yet to see. So that happens. This is a regional issue. That is a state level issue. For us, from the exam perspective, you should be knowing the information about the tribes, the location, where they come from, basic details. Maybe in match the pairs can be asked. Clear with this? this is what we have. Every week there will be one tribe in news. That is what we see, correct? This is what we have from this area. Then moving on, protected areas in news. So Aralam, hope I'm pronouncing it right, which is in Kerala, Aralam Wildlife Sanctuary was in news because this can be a topic of protected area as well as internal security. So recently, suspected Maoists reportedly opened fire at Forest Department watches at the Aralam Wildlife Sanctuary in Kannur in Kerala. So this wildlife sanctuary is in Kannur in Kerala. Okay. The news is regarding opening fire at watchers. Watchers, one of the subordinates in the Forest Department. Then there is a constant attack that has been happening, and there is a constant, presence of this Maoist is what the government has tagged them, and they have been witnessed in this area. And this attack is an indicative of that this is growing there in this particular region, in the Kannur area. And especially, this is the wildlife sanctuary. It has been associated to. And also, there are news regarding these Maoists are infiltrating local houses, conducting various activities, issuing propaganda materials. This happens. We see this more in Chhattisgarh, Chota Nagpur Plateau, correct? The highly insurgent area, what we call. But today we can see this in this wildlife sanctuary, which is the northernmost wildlife sanctuary of Kerala, this region. So possibilities are there. Simply the place, Aralam Wildlife Sanctuary, which state? Simple question can also be asked. Maybe the definition, the description of the wildlife sanctuary can be asked. So let's look into the key points of the sanctuary. So as I told you, it is the northernmost wildlife sanctuary in Kerala. And it is located in the contiguous, Wayanad, Brahmagiri, northern slopes, and where it borders Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary and also the forest of Coorg, because the state borders the district Coorg in Karnataka. So we can see this Western Ghats range sloping in the, slopes in this wildlife sanctuary also. So there is a highest peak also called as Katti Betta, and we have some of the vegetation, west coast tropical evergreen forest, because Kannur is also a coastal area where we also have tropical forest, and a palanquin type, that is a type of trees or vegetation that thrives here. You can also have a look at it here. Semi-evergreen forest, South Indian moist deciduous forest. So different types of forest we can see within the wildlife sanctuary. So it is very widely diverse wildlife sanctuary or a protected area. Then fauna or the river, there is also a river that flows, Chinkani River, and fauna, deer, boar, elephant, bison, what we see commonly see in Western Ghats, we have it here. Maybe in detail question on wildlife sanctuary will not be asked, but an awareness about a wildlife sanctuary, which is in news every week. Again, how we tell that tribes are in news, likewise protected areas will also be in news. So just have an awareness about it. Okay. So this is regarding Aralam Wildlife Sanctuary. News is regarding Maoists. Question can be asked totally in a different way. So having an awareness is very important. Okay. Then species in news. Or also one more sanctuary which is in news, Asiatic wild dogs, which are also called as dholes or dholes. Dholes are quite often seen in news these days. Maybe already few topics, few articles you might have come across, right? What are the other articles you might have seen, you have seen already when it comes to dholes? What are the other articles? Recently, there was a news regarding Manas, Assam's Manas National Park, wherein coexistence of, can you recollect, coexistence of dholes, leopards and tigers in the same place. That was there. And before that, one more article was also there, wherein dholes and, their appearance, in which of the places they were not sighted for many years. Like this, we are witnessing certain news on this. And if it is repetitively resurfacing in the news, then you should pay some attention to this. Okay. Simple question, basic question can also be asked. Maybe it's activity and all that. Let's look into it. So recently, a pair of dholes have made a rare appearance in the Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary in Odisha's Bargarh district. So this Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary is in Odisha. Okay. This protected area is in Odisha. So wild dogs, or it is also called as Indian wild dogs, Asiatic wild dogs, depending upon its distribution. Under WPA 1972, that is Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, this is a Schedule 2 animal. Schedule 2 animal means it is protected. High protection is given, right? And they are rarely sighted in Odisha's forest recently. Why recently wild dogs population are important, why it is thriving well? Because they are better competitors for tigers, leopards, etc. Because these predators need a competition also. If there is sole predator for the entire prey base, there can be a possibility wherein it is difficult to check the prey base, check the population of the prey base as well. So competition, a healthy competition matters in a protected area. And apart from that, if you look into the wildlife sanctuary, there is a special mention. We have to look into this brigade because one of the freedom fighters of Odisha called Veer Surendra Sai, who fought against the British, who was part of the Indian freedom struggle, had seeked refuge in this particular sanctuary. So this sanctuary is also popular for this person. So just one more point to know, one more fact to know. So let's know more about the Asiatic wild dogs, its distribution, its protection status, etc. So that is how you have to, track the information. Now it is under IUCN, it is under endangered category, and please make a note of it. We still follow, as of now, we still look into WPA 1972 schedules, because Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, now it is amended. So before we had 6 schedules, today we have 4 schedules. Okay, under 1972 Act, it is under Schedule 2. As of now, we are yet to see, because we have only 4 schedules and different parameters have been looked into. But let's follow as of now 1972 only. Less likely if there is an ambiguity, the question will not be asked. Still, I'm just letting you know this is a protected species in India. Okay, and under CITES, it is Appendix 2. There are 3 appendices under the convention called as Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. So Appendix 2, it is protected. So the takeaway here is it is a highly protected species in India. Okay, and in India, the first conservation breeding center for dholes was built at Indira Gandhi Zoological Park in Andhra Pradesh. The first conservation breeding center for them, because dholes act as a very important predator, because their prey base is what kind of prey base they feed on? On what do you call as wild ungulates. What are wild ungulates? Herbivores. They feed on various herbivores. Okay, so to check the population of these wild ungulates or herbivores, or check overgrazing, these matter. So that is why it is highly protected. When you look into the distribution, they have a very vast distribution. They can be seen as far as north as Siberia. That is why they're called as Asiatic dogs. Asia, entire Asia. They can be seen in Malaysian islands. They can be seen in Indian Peninsula also. This is the global distribution. When it comes to India, they are found in Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Central India, Northeast India. If there is a question given, they are found only in Western Ghats. They are found only in Eastern Ghats. Look at the distribution. That matters a lot. Then coming to the strong regions, Western and Eastern Ghats. Apart from that, we can also see them in Northeastern region. Okay, these are the important points on dholes. Now moving on. Sorry, this is a different slide altogether. I'll come to this. Regarding groundwater extraction. A report on groundwater extraction was recently seen. Regarding this can be very important topic from geography as well as environment. If you are in need of break, we can take a break for 5 minutes, then we can continue. We'll just take 5 minutes break, then I'll continue with this. Okay. So let's resume. So next topic is on groundwater extraction. There was a recent report by United Nations wherein especially focusing what is the current condition in India when it comes to groundwater. So United Nations has cautioned India that 27 of the 31 aquifers are being depleted as at a faster rate that they can be recharged. Many questions have been asked before in UPSC when it comes to mains, especially in mains regarding groundwater recharge, aquifers, very, very important. This area is very important. And recently there is a report as well. We have to see the current stance, current condition in India. So apart from the UN report also, when we look into, India has a very poor state of aquifer, wherein Niti Aayog also had commissioned a report. Central Water Commission also has given an idea about why aquifers in India have been depleting at a very faster rate. So, I mean, faster than they can be recharged. So, what are the reasons for excessive groundwater extraction? Why are we dependent on groundwater? Can you tell me why this excessive groundwater extraction that is happening in India? Main thing, what is the main reason? Obviously for agriculture. Apart from that, industries as well, right? And also, why when we say the faster rate, then they can be recharged in the sense we have monsoon deficit also, rainfall deficit, wherein there is less likely the groundwater or the aquifers are getting recharged as well. There is no much time. So we are continuously excessively extracting this groundwater, which has led to the depletion of the aquifers, because these are one of the major sources of fresh water. If this is gone, we know that what will be the condition of the fertility of the soil, moisture in the soil, for the food security, sources of water, drinking water. And it has led to, especially if you look in Africa, people migrate from rural places or to urban areas, or they end up as refugees or migrants because of the land no longer has enough moisture to support the crops. Why? Because depletion of the aquifers. So already there are many drought prone countries. We are predicting if this monsoon deficit becomes continuous in the further years, then definitely most part of India becomes a drought prone country, correct? Or the areas will turn into like that. That is the reason we have to give certain importance to this particular topic. Okay, so aquifers are subterranean layers of rock or sediment. We know that just the meaning of aquifers. Instead of asking regarding this, they can go back to the basic topic of aquifers itself, groundwater itself, the basic geography, which we have to know. The water table. What is water table? What is the meaning of water table? Simple definition. Can anyone tell me? Because aquifers are part of this water table. What is the meaning of water table? The saturated level of water in the ground, right? So that is called as water table. We need aquifers because aquifers are the subterranean layers of the rock or sediment capable of storing and transmitting groundwater. So they act as a natural water reservoirs. So all the wells we have today, especially the freshwater bodies, wells and springs, various other water sources or ponds or lakes, the source is groundwater. So if that gets depleted, the water bodies gets depleted. That is the concern here. So what are the key points what we have to look into, and what is the current condition in India? So according to the report says that India pumps up the most groundwater globally, wherein China and the US combined. We are mostly dependent on groundwater for various activities, especially agricultural activities, drinking water, etc. So it's been pumped up, combined pumping of China and US. And according to Central Groundwater Board, about 70% of the water used in country is from groundwater sources, not from any other source. That is major share. You can see 70% of the water used in the country is from groundwater sources. And looking at certain areas, the problem could become acute in the country's southwest. Southwest is what we have: southern India, southwestern India, wherein aquifers of hard rock already impose limits on recharging, because this entire Deccan Plateau, the Western Ghats. So because of the rocky area terrain, aquifers are already less, and recharging, it becomes even lesser. That is there. So that is one more problem that is aggravating. Then apart from that, the other key points where we can consider is the use of technologies that allow people to monitor the water available in their borewells could be the first step to nudge them to manage aquifers responsibility. Depending on the meaning of the statement is, depending on the aquifers is not wrong, because we need to dependent on natural resources. But how are we doing it? Are we using the right technologies? Are we monitoring it? So everywhere permission to digging borewells have been given. Whether it is depleted area, whether it actually harms the entire ecosystem or region, it doesn't matter. So simply digging up of the borewells without any proper monitoring and supervision, and using certain, unconventional methods or technologies, that might lead to even more deplete the aquifers. That is the way forward for this. And in the recent years also, center government, we are talking, the last 2 points speaks about the way forward, wherein center has been trying to promote less thirsty crops like millets, because today 2023 has been declared as International Year of Millets. So more importance to millets have been given, because millets are climate resilient. Millets are drought resistant crops. They do not require much of the water. They are not water juggling like water sucking crops like sugarcane or other food crops what we use. Millets is nutritious, plus it is the apt crop when it comes to climate change today. So we are shifting to all these are the solutions for the depleting groundwater. So groundwater is a very important main topic from the geographical perspective as well as ecology. As we have a recent report, there is a possibility of question being asked. So keep a tab on it. Okay. And from the static perspective, read your NCERTs regarding groundwater, sources of fresh water, water aquifers, what is water table. These are the key points you have to look into. Revise. Okay. Revise the static part of it. Moving on, some science and tech topics. Carbon nanofluorides was recently seen in news. So the IIT team has found out that the importance of carbon nanofluorides or carbon flowers, where it can turn light to heat at unrivaled efficiency. So when we speak of carbon nanofluorides, we will see its features and don't have to worry about it. The technical details of it will be not be asked. The basic idea about what is its importance. Even in your syllabus also, if you see science and tech applications in our daily life, why this research actually important to us, and how it affects our daily life, that matters. And especially when it comes to carbon, anything that starts with carbon as a prefix or a suffix, it is a pet topic, one of the favorite areas of UPSC. Carbon itself as a topic. Anything that comes in news regarding carbon, keep a tab on it. Anything new technology, new research associated to carbon, because carbon is the culprit for our greenhouse gas emission or global warming, etc. So it matters a lot. So the researchers have reported that these nanofluorides, because it looks like a flower, that's why it is called as fluorides, and nano because of the size, they could absorb sunlight at many frequencies and convert it to heat with the unprecedented efficiency. That means this nanofluorides have the capacity to absorb sunlight at many frequencies. We will see the frequencies, and convert it to heat with the unprecedented efficiency. So this has the capacity to absorb sunlight, wherein we are working towards carbon storage, carbon units, carbon sinks, and all that. So today, in order to making and switching to semiconductors, especially in the industrial sectors, we need such certain devices or inventions wherein it can dissipate or absorb sunlight, right? So excess sunlight. So the nanofluorides did not easily dissipate the heat generated into environment, making the material a good candidate for heat. Today, we are experiencing this erratic monsoon, or this extreme heat in the off season also, because of the excess heat or the greenhouse gases present. Because of the nanofluorides, if at all it is being used in industries, if at all it is used in daily applications, dissipate means giving out. Dissipate is giving out, eliminating. So if nanofluorides, this technology has been implemented, it has less chances wherein it will not dissipate the heat to the environment, where it can be a very good source of absorbing the heat. So which makes the trouble, or to tackle the issue of global warming even more effective. So the nanofluorides converted the light energy they absorbed into thermal energy, called as solar thermal conversion, with a remarkable efficiency of 87%. Don't worry, again, I'm just mentioning, don't worry about the technical words, technical topics here. Just know the concept. So why carbon nanofluorides? They have the capacity to dissipate, they do not dissipate the heat very quickly, and they can be the holders of the more heat, so that it leads to better efficiency. Okay, so we will see some terms, some aspects regarding this. So how do they look like? These are like tiny marigold flowers, you can see here. So they are made only of carbon, which are called as material carbon nanofluorides. So here, how they took it up. So researchers heated a special form of silicon dust. Silicon dust, again silica, is being heated up in a furnace, and that is how they got this nanofluorides, the research. Okay, so these nanofluorides high efficiency come from three properties, because they have the frequencies to absorb infrared, visible light, ultraviolet. Infrared, whenever, because these are the electromagnetic spectrum we are talking about. Infrared means it has, it related to heat, right? So the nanofluorides can absorb this excess heat that is coming from the sun. So sunlight emits various spectrum of light, electromagnetic spectrum, wherein the visible light, infrared and ultraviolet can be absorbed by this carbon nanofluorides that is there. And when we compare the other common materials, they can absorb only visible and UV light, but not infrared. This is its advantage here, competitive edge. Then shape, as light falls on the material, the carbon cones ensure the very little is reflected back. One more thing is the reflectivity also matters. All we want is a place or a technology which can hold more heat, which will not dissipate heat, because already we have wreak a havoc in the on Earth by dissipating more of greenhouse gases. It has been accumulated in the atmosphere, and it is reflecting back to the Earth again, leading to more heat. But if you use this in application, carbon nanofluorides, it not only reduces the dissipation of heat, but also it can the reflection is also very less. So this is just an invention. This is just a research as of now. Further applications we are yet to see. As it was in the news, just a basic information, basic idea can be asked in one of the statements. As I told you, carbon as a topic, as a term, is very favorite to UPSC. That's why you should be knowing. Anything associated with carbon technology matters. Okay. Yes. Moving on. One more research, that is aerogels. Aerogels, that is related to dissipation of heat, absorbing excess sunlight or sun's heat. Here we are talking about removing pollutants from wastewater, and a technology to remove or to trace pollutants from the wastewater. So then the recent research of IIT Madras and Tel Aviv University, both with a collaboration, have developed an aerogel adsorbent that can remove trace pollutants from wastewater. So aerogel, we will see what is an aerogel also. So they have developed a silica aerogel modified with graphene, again form of carbon. So they employed a method called as supercritical fluid deposition. I'm just reading it for you. Again, I'm telling you, don't worry about the technical terms here. UPSC is mindful of what you call as people from humanities background also. You don't have to worry about it. Just what is aerogels used for? What is its application? It removes pollutants from the wastewater. Simply to say, wastewater treatment. Aerogels helps in wastewater treatment. So under real life condition, mimicked in their experiments, the material removed over 85% of the pollution. They have tried it on wastewater. So 85% of the pollutants have been removed from the wastewater. So this is one breakthrough we can see when it comes to wastewater management or wastewater treatment, because if wastewater is not being treated, or it is untreated wastewater ends up in the ocean, again lead to larger scale of pollution or marine pollution or other water bodies as well. This can be a very important innovation or the research what we have to consider when it comes to wastewater treatment. So just to know about the basic idea about aerogels, this is how it looks like. So they are composed mostly of air and can be used to remove contaminants. It is made out of silica, as I've told you, the composition. So they are also known as solid air or frozen smoke. So this has been added to the wastewater, wherein they have the capacity to absorb or adsorb the contaminants in the water. So this can help removal of excess of, see, today we can use what do you call as microorganisms as well. There is a concept, the static topic in environment called as bioremediation. What is bioremediation? Removal of toxic substances with the help of microorganisms, with the help of bacteria. So living organisms also have the capacity to absorb any contaminants, any pollutant from the given environment. Likewise, this is just a technology wherein when we, bring in this to, what do you call as, in the contaminated water, this can absorb excess pollutants, at least if not decontaminate totally, at least neutralize the place. So today's most of the water facilities, when we say wastewater is converted into, excess of chlorine is been added and it is converted into usable water. So instead of adding more chemicals and chlorine, if aerogels are utilized in the wastewater treatment, it can be a better alternative. That is the innovation. So just know what are aerogels. Maybe simple description can be given. Don't get confused with aerosols. What are aerosols? What is the meaning of aerosols? I'm only questioning, I'm only answering. Can anybody interact? Have you heard of what are aerosols? Aerogels are related to water, treatment of wastewater. Aerosols are related to dust or air, or the suspended particles in the air, right? Aerosols are a potential air pollutants as well, the suspended particles. Yes. So know the difference. Just mention similar sounding words. You should not get confused. Moving on, international relations. So recently, there was a presidential election in Maldives, and more than a presidential election, our focus is on the person's or the president's motto or a vision to make Maldives free, or India Out campaign, his very own India Out campaign. And this has been in news from some time. So we have to know why it matters to India-Maldives relations. And maybe we are not digging into why this president is hell-bent on bringing India out, or the presence of India in Maldives completely out or eliminated. But rather than that, how does it affect? And what are the implications? If not, that is not asked. Question on the geographical perspective, the location of Maldives, the atolls, the islands, okay? Or maybe the geographical location question, simple question can be asked, because Maldives is also one of the islands in the Indian Ocean. Recently, we also see in the news regarding Indian Ocean Rim Association. That was also there, Indian Ocean Rim Association. Simple question on Indian Ocean islands can be asked, simply like above the equator, below the equator, on the equator, right, north to south. Geography-based questions can be asked, though it is on world affairs or international relations. But anyway, we'll look into the news. Okay, so his stance stems out from the main opposition's bloc's India Out campaign mounted against outgoing president. So there was an outgoing president who did not win the election. So his campaign was India first. He gave importance to India as a neighboring country and having a good international relations. But when it comes to this president, he is, has his own campaign. He's emphasizing that he wants to send the Indian troops out of the country, because Maldives is one of the strategic location on the Indian Ocean for India. Why certain islands have been chosen when it comes to of strategic importance? Because we know the concept of China's string of pearls theory, or the reality, right? China's presence in the Indian Ocean in several islands. Likewise, to counter the activities of China, India also needs its presence in the Indian Ocean in some of the islands. So it has to maintain a cordial relation with the other island countries in Indian Ocean. But today, this is the condition. So what are the consequences? We are yet to see. But anyway, some of the geographical aspect we'll look into. So it is a strategic location at vital sea lanes, and it facilitates maritime trade between Gulf of Aden, Gulf of Hormuz, and Strait of Malacca, this particular region. And it is known for its coral reefs, especially atolls, because coral reefs are of three types. Hope you have learned about it. Coral reefs are of three types. These are atolls, we have fringing reefs, and we have barrier. If you can see the entire Maldives map, it is made of all these atolls are there, like how we have in Lakshadweep. Lakshadweep has atolls, Andaman has fringing reef. These are the different types of coral reefs, right? So this is how the structure or the geographical area of the Maldives is made up of, and it has a large exclusive economic zone. Again, large exclusive economic zone in the sense where it has an area on the sea, several nautical miles, where it can take up economic activities. Maldives is also a very important tourist destination where major of its economical development is dependent on tourism. Maldives. So, but apart from that, the defense, the India's presence is what irking the president here, wherein it is just as simple as that, tying up with the other countries or any other countries which opposes India. Obviously the president has to, or maybe the ideologies also matter, the president's ideology matters, anything it could be, or Maldives would feel that would feel insecure, or maybe India is dominating, right? There are different perspectives. It depends on the ideologies of the person himself. But today this can be actually a major loss of an area for India when it comes to strategic importance. That is there. And separation from, one more geographical fact, separation from India's mini Koi by the 8-degree channel. Why should we focus on these channels and all that? Long back, very long back, question on Andaman and Nicobar is separated by which of the following water bodies? What is the answer? What is separation? Yes, 10-degree channel, right? Likewise, we have 8-degree channel. So already when we have a pattern of the question that is we have seen in the exam, so we should not be ignorant of it. So there is a pattern for UPSC. What kind of questions will be asked? Though the news is regarding the India-Maldives relationship, question can turn into map-based questions. Okay, so the takeaway from this topic is what you have to look into is you have to focus on the Indian Ocean islands. Also give importance to Indian Ocean Rim Association, that is there, and all the islands which, see, you can see it is above the equator. The major part of the Maldives islands, Maldives itself is above the equator. We have Arabian Sea on the west, we have Laccadive Sea on the south. The south. So these are the what you call as the geographical position also matters. So have a look at it, glance over your map. That is a takeaway from this topic. Okay. So moving on, we have one more international relations news itself topic, that is India-Bangladesh relations. That is Tripura-Bangladesh railway link. So recently a new railway link was inaugurated between India and Bangladesh, especially which connects Tripura. So this project is known as Agartala-Akhaura Railway. Agartala, Tripura, and Akhaura, which is in Bangladesh, which is even paving way to strengthen the ties between two countries, India and Bangladesh. So why this matters? Because it reduces travel time between Agartala and Kolkata from 31 hours to just 10 hours. Reducing the travel time was the main intention here. Apart from that, why this matters? Why this matters to Tripura especially? Maybe again we have to look into the geographical perspective. From the geographical perspective, we will see. So hope you got the idea. Agartala-Akhaura rail link, which is between India and Bangladesh, where it connects. The main connecting point is Tripura here, and we will see certain facts regarding takeaway from here. So you can see the position of Tripura in here. So the major part, the major landscape of Tripura, it is a landlocked state also. You can look into here. It is a landlocked state wherein it is surrounded by Bangladesh. It is one of the states in India wherein it also shares border with Bangladesh. Okay, so question can be asked like this: which of the following states shares borders with Bangladesh? Simple question. This is also a possibility. So we will see why this project is important to Tripura. What are the reasons? So Tripura is going to be the gateway for tourism and transport between India and Bangladesh. That is one thing. And the distance between Agartala and Kolkata will be reduced. I mean, the thing is the time taken will be reduced. And the Tripura shares an 856 kilometer international border with Bangladesh, the second highest after West Bengal. So the largest border shared with Bangladesh when it comes to Indian status, that is West Bengal. So Tripura is the second largest or second highest. Okay, so the northern eastern state is surrounded by the country on all the three sides. You can see this northeastern state of Tripura is surrounded by country of Bangladesh on all the sides except for Assam and some part of Assam and also Mizoram. These are the two states, Indian states that borders Tripura, and rest entire region is bordered by Bangladesh itself. Then why this region again matters, there is an emotional tie also, emotional connection also, apart from the practical approach, pragmatic approach. During the 1971 Indo-Pakistan war and the creation of Bangladesh, Tripura, which was a neighboring state here, which then had only 14 lakh people, sheltered near 15 lakh East Pakistani refugees. So it became a refugee hub for the, what do you call as, the East Pakistani or what was Bangladeshi refugees in Tripura. That is also a reason wherein Tripura can act as a gateway for tourism and transport. Not only that, good ties between, or the goodwill between India and Bangladesh. Already there are, what do you call as, better relations that we are trying to strengthen between India and Bangladesh in various perspectives. It may be ecologically, it may be economically, with various projects. And speaking of the investment of the project, who has invested in here? The entire investment is done by Indian government itself, investment. But the process, the procedure, the construction and all is taken by either way, what do you call as, Indian Railways on Indian side and Bangladesh to railway on the other side. But the entire investment is done by India alone. Okay, so Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Northeastern Development Region, these two ministries are part of this project. And the other side, Bangladesh has facilitated the construction activities. Investment is solely done by country, I mean India, by our country. So this is what you have to keep in mind. Just remember, from this area, you have to know the mapping, the boundaries. Okay, the boundaries, the state that borders the countries. These are very important from this area. Now, one miscellaneous topic we can go through. Champions of Earth Award was recently seen in news. Many people are given award today. This time it is not for any Indians, but some Indians have been awarded the same thing in the previous years as well, including our Prime Minister. So it was also been asked in UPSC once regarding Champions of Earth Award. That's why we are looking into it. Okay. So recently it unveiled the 2023 Champions of the Earth. So honoring it honors individuals who makes groundbreaking initiatives in tackling plastic pollution, or there's a campaign that goes called as Beat Pollution, or Beat Pollution basically. So it is the highest honor or environmental recognition when it comes to under the UN, which appreciates, which applauds people who are working towards plastic crisis. Okay, plastic crisis, environmental crisis. So it is given by UNEP, United Nations Environment Program. So it has launched Beat Pollution, and the people who are volunteering towards working towards this plastic pollution have been awarded with this. So we have to look into who were the Indian awardees who were honored with this award. That is, Indian wildlife biologist was recently, maybe in 2022, Dr. Purnima Devi Burman. Dr. Purnima Devi Burman has contributed in protecting a particular species, a bird species in Assam called as great adjutant stork or hargila. So this is a bird, and this bird feeds on waste like a scavenger. So today they had cultural ties with this bird, and Purnima Devi Burman, she had created an hargila army of women to conserve this bird there. For her contributions in conserving this bird, and also effectively why this bird is required as a scavenger to clean the environment, beat pollution, right? So that is why she has been honored with this award. And Narendra Modi, I mean, the Prime Minister, have been honored with what do you call as for this initiative of International Solar Alliance. Then Tulsi Tanti Suzlon Group for wind energy. Then a cleanup initiative that was taken by a lawyer in Mumbai. He was also been awarded. So these are some of the awardees what we can see in the previous years. As we have certain awardees in India, that's why we are focusing on this thing. Okay, it has been given by UNEP. Then moving on, we will so these are some of the topics we had today to discuss, and we can look into some of the revision questions as of now. Okay, so for every question you can take some 30 seconds or 1 minute max. What we have discussed or what you have already read is what we are going to look into. Okay, so every week you'll be having, at the end of the session, you'll be having this revision questions for your, I mean, better learning, and also possibilities. I mean, well, maybe in the future classes we'll increase number of questions as well. So as this is the first day, we'll look into what is that, how it gets, I mean, how beneficial it is to you, okay, by practicing this. So there is one mistake here. You can go through this question. Just change the option. This is A. A, B, C, and D. Okay, don't get confused. There is a mistake here. Consider these options as A, B, C, D. Okay. Yes. So you can take a minute. What we have discussed regarding phosphorus in the previous classes, or maybe you have come across this too. Regarding phosphorus, one thing is importance of agriculture. One more is, in the last class, in the last week also, we have seen the attack, the ongoing war wherein white phosphorus is being used by Israel. That was also in news. So phosphorus is been asked in previous year also. That's why this question. So you can go through this and try answering. Take a minute and you can post your answers in the chat box. So what is the answer? All of you can answer. A, B, C, D is what is given, okay? Okay, so some of you have answered. Let me check. So good. All of you have given option B. Hope you had your time and you have, okay. India holds the distinction of being the world's foremost phosphorus exporter. So all of you have answered B here. Okay, what is wrong with the option A? I mean, statement 1. Why statement 1 is incorrect? Yes. So India is the world's largest phosphorus importer, not exporter. It is the highest. It exports highest phosphorus. So it is a importer rather than exporter. That is the incorrect word here. That is why first statement is wrong. Second is only a minor fraction of extracted phosphorus finds application in food production. Yes, and what happens to the rest of it? In food production, in the sense phosphorus is being used, and the major share of phosphorus, whatever we utilize in agriculture as fertilizer and all that, where does it end up? It ends up in the water body. It ends up as what you call as excess nutrients and leads to eutrophication and disrupt the aquatic ecosystems. So basically, phosphorus, though it is one of the building blocks of life forms, only a minor fraction has been utilized in the food production. Rest all has been wasted, or it ends up in the water bodies. That is why, I mean, that is the right statement and it's correct. Then West African phosphorus deposits include cadmium, which are used in fertilizers. So when we speak of the largest exporter, or when we speak of which countries have the highest deposits of phosphorus, which country has the highest deposit of phosphorus? Highest reserves of phosphorus? Africa, yes. So Africa has the, especially countries such as Western Sahara region and Morocco. Morocco and Western Sahara region has the highest phosphorus deposits, okay, or reserves. And also in these places where they are one of the major exporters of the phosphorus into various countries, including India. So these deposits include one more heavy metal called as cadmium, which are used in fertilizers, which is a concern. Why? Because cadmium is a heavy metal. When these phosphorus deposits already contain cadmium, which are used in fertilizers, this will pass through food chain and can lead to further consequences. That's why it was in news. Just giving a further explanation about it. Okay. So this is the question. Good that you tried answering. We will move on to the next one. There's something wrong with the options. Please consider it as A, B, C, D. Okay. Maybe during giving bullet points, it might have changed. So go through this question and let me know. It is regarding Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. What is the answer? The recent women reservation bill is what? Simple basic facts only I have given. Okay, I told you, just consider it as ABCD. Okay, let me change it for you or else you'll be confused. C, D. It aims to allocate 33% of the Lok Sabha and state assembly seats to women through direct voting. Is this statement correct? It is A. Initially, the reservation period spans 15 years from the law's enactment. What is the duration that we have decided for the reservation period to start? First statement is right. Okay. What about this one? Second statement. Have answers as A and C as well. So I have two answers here. Is it A? What is wrong with the second statement then? C. Okay, those who are telling A is the right option, tell me what is wrong with. No, so it is not. Maybe the statements will be incomplete also. Okay, this is how the most of the UPSC options will be having. It is by default. See, initially the reservation period spans 15 years from the law's enactment. So what was decided when it was brought forward? The act was brought forward. Is it 15 years or 20 years or 25 years? You can take your time and tell me, no trouble. But just interact, that's all. Some of you, okay, anyway, some of you have given C and A as an option. So second statement is also right. It is 15 years after enactment. It is 15 years, wherein the proposed act said that the 33% women reservation to be continued for 15 years, not 20 years or any other years. So remember the number, okay? Maybe you will be focusing on more of the other advanced key points of this particular act or bill, but make sure that you know the basic ones as well. That's why I brought only basic statements for this particular question. And this act can be really important. You should again revisit the facts or the provisions that they have been decided recently. Okay, it is 15 years. Considering delimitation and census changes or number of years altered. Yes, I mean, see, the number of years which has been given or decided as of now is 15 years, not anything more than that. This is a factual point here. Okay, rest all, as you said, census, everything is right. What is the current decision made? That's the point here. Maybe it is quite ambiguous. This is like what you call as a model question. So UPSC will be having a better way of putting it. So here, this is just a practice for you, revision for you, wherein you have to look into the act again, the provisions of the act again. Okay. Then moving on, next question. Now it is a geography-based question. Which of the following countries border sea or ocean or any water body? You can consider like that. We have Turkey, Iran, Turkmenistan, and Iraq. No sea, the name of the water body ocean is not being given. So this is very important for you from the exam perspective, because one question on water bodies, especially on the world oceans in the Middle East, Eastern region, and when it comes to the ongoing war-stricken areas, conflict-ridden areas, there'll be certain countries randomly chosen and map-based question will be asked. So if you can try to guess and recollect whether these countries have water bodies or not surrounding them, bordering them, at least a part of it. Take a moment and then you can tell. B. Okay, any other answers? B. Okay. So we have B only. I want all of you to try this. I mean, try the questions. D. Okay. C, B, D, C we have. So different C. Okay. Let's look into it. Now you tell me, if at all it is bordering a sea or a water body or ocean, Turkey, formerly known as Turkey, it borders which water body? We will check whether it borders or not. Okay. What about Turkey? Very good. Black Sea. Excellent. Yes, Black Sea. Iran. It can be part of the ocean or sea also. Water body should be there. That was my question actually. Iran. Arabian. Let's say Persian Gulf. Turkmenistan. Yes, very good. Caspian Sea. And Iraq. Iraq. Does Iraq borders? Yes, that is also Persian Gulf. So answer is D. Okay. These areas, I've just taken some places randomly, but Black Sea, Caspian Sea, Persian Gulf, especially Persian Gulf. This region is very, very important. So you should be knowing whether these borders, which water bodies are there in this given region, ocean, sea, bay, or Gulf. Okay. So glance over it every day. Give some few minutes to simply glance over world map, India map. Just 5 minutes, look at it, not even making notes or doing something, drawing or something. Just look at it. So picture memory, or what you call as visual memory, will help you. Okay. Yes, good. Moving on to the next question. Okay, go through this question and let me know the answer. Consider the following statements with reference to Mangrove Alliance for Climate. So first statement is Mangrove Alliance for Climate is an initiative led by India. It was launched at the COP27 of UNFCCC. And the third point is the Intergovernmental Alliance works on voluntary basis and will not hold members accountable. What is the answer for this? If you've heard about it or if you can guess. Yes? No answers? Is the first statement correct? Mangrove Alliance for Climate, MAC, is an initiative led by India. Only two. So definitely which of the statements you know that it is right. So a second statement is right because it is launched at the COP27 of UNFCCC. Good. And now the pattern of the question is you have to identify how many of the statements are right. This is the recent pattern, or the lately we can see in the question paper. Rather than asking 1, 2, or 3, you have to identify whether how many statements are correct. Okay. So the first statement, Mangrove Alliance for Climate is an initiative led by India. Is India part of this program? I'll explain. Third statement, I'll explain. Yes, India is part of this program. Is it an initiative led by India? India is a partner. Yes, India is a partner to this program. It is not led by India. So it is led by which other countries? UAE. Yes, UAE and Indonesia. 2 countries. Okay, remember this fact. UAE and Indonesia. India is a partner, along with other countries like Japan, Australia, Singapore. There are other partner countries which are part of this alliance, but India did not lead it. India has not initiated it. It is initiated by UAE and Indonesia. First statement is incorrect for that. So second statement, is that right? It is right because it was launched at the COP27 of the UNFCCC, the recent one. The third is, one of you asked me, you did not understand this statement. Let me explain. This Intergovernmental Alliance, that is MAC, works on voluntary basis and will not hold members accountable. That means, so there is no such thing that people, once they enter, it is mandatory, they have to follow the alliance and they have to take part in it. There is no such thing. They can simply be part of it. They can voluntarily enter it and voluntarily leave or exit the alliance as well. So there is no mandate, there is no restrictions for the members to be held accountable whether they are taking any initiative in their home country. Okay, so whether this statement is right or not. Did you understand the meaning now? Is it correct? The Intergovernmental Alliance works on voluntary basis. Third statement is right because it does works on voluntary basis. There is no mandate and there is no accountability as of now. No members will be held for their accountability. So the third statement is correct. So the answer is B. Okay, the answer is B. Clear with this? So in India, we have this at the national level, we have MISTI scheme. You can look into it. At the international level, we have Mangrove Alliance for Climate. So there are questions asked in mains when it comes to mangroves. You can use these illustrations, you can use these examples in way forward or the initiatives at the national level, international level and all that. Okay. So yes, moving on to the next question, the last question, a simple question, because we have discussed this topic before also. What is the answer for this? Integration of Hyderabad into Indian Union. Okay. All of you are giving same answer. We have discussed about this, or and I think you also have, I mean, what do you call, looked into it. B. Okay. So all say B. Good. So what is this? What are the other options? Operations? Answer is B. Correct. Operation Polo. The integration of Hyderabad. Recently, there was a news regarding Vallabhbhai Patel and the annexation or the integration of Hyderabad, right, into Indian Union. The efforts of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and all that we have seen in news. So answer is B. What about Operation Blue Star, Vijay and Ajay? Amritsar. Yes. In Punjab. Khalistan. Yes. Good. Related to Khalistani troops, wherein it was conducted by the Indian government when it was surrounded the Amritsar Golden Temple. Then Operation Polo we have seen. Operation Vijay and Ajay. Very good. Vijay is related to Kargil. And Operation Ajay. So recently we have seen. Evacuation of Indians from Israel, right? You should also have an awareness of the other options also. That's why I've added the one of the recent one also. So these are the questions we have from the past few weeks. We'll add more questions also in the coming sessions. And these are the topics. You can use this, I mean, the slide also for your benefit. And you have to add more, you have to know, you have to read more topics. Some of them only we can discuss in the given time. So this is what we have for today. Hope you have followed the session. It has helped you, and thank you for interacting. Any other questions if you have, you can ask. And from Rajkumar Academy, the new batch is coming up. You can enroll yourself for those who have not yet in the meeting. Okay. A simultaneous election is about, we have this one nation, one election thing that is coming up, that is in debate as well. So having elections simultaneously, depending upon the tenure, looking at the states. So that is a different topic altogether. Maybe if it is an upcoming news, we will take up one nation, one election, that topic as well, because many programs are there as such regarding one nation, one election, one ration, one nation and all that. So that is one series. We'll take it up. So Yes, thank you so much. Nice having you all here. We'll meet in the next class, next session, that is next week. So you can have your PDFs also, that will be shared in the link, is what is being told. You can make use of it. Anyway, we'll see you in the next week. Thank you so much. Take care and all the best.